So how long were you an engineer?
38 years.
Were there still steam engines when you started, or had
no,
they gone?
no.
They'd already
I came
gone.
out in 1970. I hired
Oh
out in
yeah, you're just a
1970.
kid, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And
But you like the undulating territory going south?
yeah, because everything you do before you get there.
Oh,
Because by the time you get to, say, a speed restriction for a curve,
yes.
if you haven't done what you're supposed to do, by the time you see it, it's too late.
Wow.
So everything is planned ahead.
Yes.
And you have to know the territory. You have to know how it's going to affect your train. If it's going up, coming down, stuff like that.
Yes.
And I remember one of the biggest mistakes I made as a fireman. I was running for this engineer going north, right to north of San Lucas. You know where San Lucas is?
Vaguely.
San Ardo,
Yes.
San Lucas, King City.
Right. Oh yeah, sure, of course.
Okay, well, we're coming up here. There's a little hill that comes out of San Lucas, and it drops down, goes to the right, and goes to the left, and goes into King City. And it's pretty steep. It's just only maybe 3/4 of a mile to a mile long, the whole thing. Well, you watch these guys do what they do. And it's really rough working for all these different engineers, because each one of them had their way of doing something. And they wanted you to do it that way.
Right, of course.
And so here I was trying to master about 10 different methods of handling trains.
Right.
And so I know, okay, here, I'm supposed to put air in it here, so I put some air in it, and I start slowing down, and I'm thinking, I'm slowing down too fast. I got to kick them off. Well, I kick them off, and we start picking up speed going down the hill.
Oh.
And it's not supposed to pick up speed. But what it was, the way these guys did it, they put the air into it, and they kept pulling on it far enough that they wouldn't release it till they were halfway down the hill.
Oh.
And then it would hold it.
Right.
Well, I was all released by the time I started off that hill.
Oh no.
And Jesus.
No, she's here for me. Yes, all right.
Boy, is that your wife?
No. She's my tenant.
Oh.
And she works up here, and so she's
Don't
here to
make
give.
him charge you the wrong price.
Yeah, but now as an engineer, you did this for 38 years. You said.
40 years on the railroad altogether. The first 2 years I was a fireman.
Wow.
I was in engine service all 40 years. But I got so tired of working for all these engineers. And I got promoted I didn't have enough seniority to work as an engineer, so I'd been in a job in Lompoc, and I stayed in Lompoc for 3 years. And I wasn't going to come out until I had enough seniority to hold an engineer.
To be an engineer, right.
So I wouldn't have to work for these turkeys anymore.
Oh, that is so funny.
Yeah, and so that's what I did.
I have a really good friend who now lives in Thailand, whose dad worked on the railroad his whole life. He worked on the railroad, got up to be a conductor on a freight train. Most of the time he was in the caboose, because they still had cabooses.
They didn't do anything.
No, exactly. He had the only thing he could do is
all the work.
Yes. It was only when they went around curves where he could look for hot boxes, right? And so he studied to become an airline pilot, and now he flies 747 400s.
How old is he?
He's a kid. He's 50 something.
Oh. Wow. Where was the conductor at?
That
was a long time ago.
Minnesota. Had to be Minnesota, because that's where I think he grew up.
That was a long time ago, because they got rid of the caboose.
Cabooses, yeah, with an end of train. I hate the end of train. I went to caboose back, darn it.
Oh, you could turn around and beat a guy half to death back there, though.
Oh, I'll bet.
Oh, yeah. You figure that you have 6 to 8 inches of slack.
Holy cow. For each car?
Yes. So if you got 100 cars, that's 60, 80, 600, 800 inches.
Yes.
So if you turn around and put too much air into it all at once,
he comes to a sudden stop.
Next thing he knows, I cracked my dad's ribs.
Wow.
He was a conductor on a caboose.
Oh no!
And I sent him from one end of the caboose to the other, and he cracked 3 of his ribs.
Oh no!
He never said a word to anybody.
Wow!
And I went over his house. He lived in Morro Bay, and I lived in Los Osos. So I went over there, and I walked in the house, and he's in the bathroom, and his ribs are all strapped up. I said, "Dad, what happened?" So he told me. I said, "Oh, did you turn it in?" And no, I ain't gonna let anybody know my son did this to me.
So tell me your name.
Darryl Whaley.
Steve Rose. It's nice to meet you, Darryl. It's mutual, my friend.
Yeah.
So how can I get in touch with you? I'll send you a copy of the recording or something. And I'd love to hear more. We got to hear more.
Well, you do computer stuff?
Sure.
It's Buffy. See, that's my nickname. It's Buffy.
Buffy, Buffy.
Yeah, Buffy, DMW, which is my initials, Darryl, Melville, Whaley. Now,
Super.
Buffy's my nickname because when I hired out on the railroad, I had hair all the way down to here, and I had beard all the way down
Really?
to here, and I had leather and all this, you know.
Yes, right.
And I'm up in San Francisco, and Ralph Elliott, he was a conductor. He says, Darryl, you remind me of this joke. I said, what is it? He says, well, this guy is walking through Haight-Ashbury, and he sees these two hippies. And he looks them up and down, looks at him, and he walks up and says, what are you? The guy says, well, we're hippies. Well, what are hippies? He tells him, he says, thank God. He says, why? Well, I just got out of jail for screwing a buffalo, and I thought you were my sons. So that stuck. So I was Buffy for the next 58 years.
Yes, Jesus.